Imagine this. You open Spotify's US charts, expecting the usual big names like Taylor Swift, Drake, or The Weeknd. But suddenly, there it is, an album from a Korean artist, still standing tall after nearly an entire year. And not just any artist, it's Jimin. Something incredible just happened. Jimin's second solo album, Muse, has made history. It has now spent 50 weeks on the Spotify US Top Albums chart, making him the first and only K-pop solo artist to ever achieve this. Think about that for a second. 50 weeks. That's almost 365 days of constant presence in one of the toughest music markets in the world. But what makes this even more special is the story behind Muse. When it was released, many saw it as Jimin's personal diary, filled with emotions, vulnerability, and confidence all at once. And yet, instead of being just another release, Muse became something timeless, something fans kept listening to again and again, to the point where the album refused to leave the charts. And then there's Who, the crown jewel of this record. This isn't just a song, it's an anthem. With nearly 396 million filtered streams, Who didn't just perform well. It climbed into Spotify's list of the most streamed songs of all time in the US, holding the 93rd spot, even surpassing Drake's Jimmy Cooks. That moment alone tells us something big. Jimin isn't competing only in K-pop anymore. He's breaking into the very heart of American mainstream music. But let's pause here. What makes Who even more extraordinary is the fact that it reached #1 on Spotify's US Daily Top Songs chart without the typical Western feature that so many artists rely on to break into global charts. No collaborations with American pop stars, no big-name features, just Jimin, his voice, his artistry, his soul. That purity is rare in today's industry, and it's part of why this achievement feels so personal to fans. Even now, more than a year since its release, Who continues to chart. 393 days on Spotify's US charts. It's like the song has become a constant companion for listeners. For some, it's a song to cry to, for others, a song to heal with, and for many, it's simply the track that connects them to Jimin's heart. And when we look at the bigger picture, Jimin's cumulative streams in the US have now surpassed 550 million. That makes him the most streamed K-pop artist, solo or group, on the Spotify US chart. This isn't just another milestone, it's history being written right in front of us. That's why fans have lovingly started calling this phenomenon Jimmerica, because Jimin's presence in the US feels larger than life. But maybe the real beauty of this story isn't just in the numbers, it's in what they represent. Every stream, every charting week, every record broken, these are footprints of connection between Jimin and his listeners. Behind those numbers are millions of people who turn to his music in moments of joy, heartbreak, loneliness, or celebration. That's why Muse didn't just chart. It lived. It became part of people's everyday lives. And maybe that's why this moment feels so emotional, because Jimin's success isn't about chasing fame. It's about sharing himself honestly, and in return, the world embraced him. Muse wasn't just his album, it became ours too. So the question now is, if Jimin has already achieved this much, carving out history in less than a year, what could possibly come next?